friends to the show that never ends, or in fact, I'm not quite sure how to rechange that because this is mighty early on a Sunday and the games have yet to be played on a Sunday, in fact. So I'd just like to say, with today's matches, well done Everton beating Manchester City 3-0, and congratulations Leeds smacking Tottenham 5-1. You never know. We live in a dream, don't we? Do you think City? I mean, not really. Seem to have put Kieran's quiz book on the wrong page there, and with what got here? The Cross and the Curse. Are you into that? No. We want Liverpool Football Club quiz book, isn't it? Not the Cross and the Curse. Well, before we give Kieran his quiz time, let me just give you one or two. Well, we'll do the plus first. I won't discuss alcohol this week. I haven't had much. How about you, Kieran? You had much?
I went to a bottomless brunch yesterday, so I had a little bit, yeah.
Yeah? And what was that?
Long Island iced teas are very nice.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a mixture of 5 different spirits with Coca-Cola. So
right,
it was very decent.
Do you know the funny thing was Kieran never used to drink alcohol before he bogged off to university. Funny that.
It's because you never gave it to me.
Never gave it to you. I couldn't bloody afford the amount you drink. Right, mind you, we're paying for this, I suppose. The other plus is the music. And here's something a little different. Anybody into psychedelic progressive rock music? No? Oh, right. Well, here's your opportunity. How about Alice Hubble? That's spelled Hubble. Alice Hubble. New album is actually, this means happy robots, but it's spelled, well, it's read Hexentanzplatz, German. Okay, that's the title, is German for Happy Robots. It is really great grooves in there if you're into psychedelic music. It's great different effects in the music. It's a fine mess of brooding sounds, would be the best way to describe it. A fine mess of brooding sounds. Have a listen. Alice Hubble, something a little bit different. Okay, Kieran, now it's time. Well, no, just before we start that, did you see what happened? I didn't tell you this, did I? About the game that had to... No, I didn't. The FA Cup replay between Exeter and Bradford. I would think some people have heard of this. It's been on the radio and advertised on BBC and different things. Exeter have been ordered to replay their FA Cup first round game with Bradford after fielding a 6th substitute in Tuesday's extra time win. FA Cup rules state teams may not make more than 5 changes as a tie, including any period of extra time. Exeter made a 6th change at the start of extra time and went on to win 3-0. The match will be on Tuesday the 30th at St James's Park if you're interested in going at 7:45. So they won 3-0 and then they brought on the substitute, their 6th, and then so it's got to be replayed.
It's a bit unfair because in most competitions they give you an extra sub, don't they? If it goes to extra time, which I'm assuming is what they thought was going to happen. What I want to know is
what's the 4th official at these games? Yeah. What do they do exactly?
You would have thought, wouldn't you?
They hold the thing up. Admittedly, they spend 20 minutes trying to get the correct numbers up there first, don't they? You would have thought, wouldn't you? Really? I mean, they don't have much to do, do they? Can't they count how many substitutes are on?
Apparently not. Apparently there's more pressure than that.
More pressure. Yeah. Maybe they're on there to stop fights between managers, hey?
Oh, and he did a really good job yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Liverpool won that one as well. Oh, that was funny. That was so funny. But we'll probably discuss that later. Yeah, so that was a replay, and also got to discuss also the how many managers have now left. Well, we're up to 16 sacked so far this season.
I was going to say we're what 5-10 minutes into this, and we are still yet to mention that Ollie has actually been sacked.
Who?
Do you not know that?
No. Yes, of course I do.
Yeah, I was going to
He's
say.
He's on my list, mate. Now this is where I try and keep myself looking smart and jacket, smart, etc. Because I'm going to go off screen to look at something, so I won't be able to see whether I'm still on here or not. Don't worry about it.
That's what I do most of the time when
exit full screen.
Listen to you.
This
is a 58-year-old man trying to work out how to use a laptop or a computer.
Oh,
well, you've had this one for what, 10 years?
10 years, yes, something like that. We got to buy a new one.
You do.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's going to be fun. Yeah. So Alex Revel is. He was our 15th manager. He's left Stevenage. He was there for 644 years. So, in fact, he's been there a while, 2 years. And he went, I won't bother looking at his profile. Didn't he play for Wycombe, Alex Revel?
Yeah. Or someone with a similar name, yeah. I'm not convinced it would be the same one.
No, he looks, well, I don't know, he looks a bit young maybe for be that Alex Revel. And of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has left. Oh, no. Oh, who are we going to have a go at every week? I mean, that's shocking. I mean,
what a shame.
What has he done wrong, eh? What has he done wrong? Maybe we have a little look at that later. Sorry?
Only 4-1 to Watford, though.
Only 4-1 to Watford. Football on this day, we've got to I'm just going to pick one before we move on. I mainly because you get given a name sometimes at school. What was yours? Was yours a nice one, Kieran?
Mine was mainly turnaround.
Turnaround. Well, mine was turnip, obviously. That was a turnaround. I didn't know that's what they called it. Right. Well, how about this one? The day after England's hopes of qualifying for Euro 2008 ended with a 3-2 defeat against Croatia at a soggy Wembley. England boss Steve McClaren was christened the Wally with the Brolly by the Daily Mail and was sacked by the FA. McClaren had only been in charge of England for 18 matches. Also sacked was his assistant, Terry Venables. How about that one? The Wally with the Brolly. I like that. I think that's a neat name. I think that's good.
That's the thing with Ollie, though, is that they've only sacked him. The assistants are still there.
I know.
I don't understand that. Surely it's a team, effort as a managerial cohort, but they're still there. Apparently, it wasn't their fault. It was all Ollie's fault.
You have to ask. I know he's in charge, but we come back to that. But I mean, the simple question is: don't the coaches coaching them how to play football have a little responsibility on the fact that they couldn't play football?
You would have thought.
You've got the best, one of the best, at least, teams in the world, and you can't teach them where to stand on a football pitch. Don't you think the coaches have just a little responsibility?
I mean, I know we'll talk about this later, and they obviously do, but you also think if they are one of the best teams in the world, surely by themselves they can beat Watford. Apparently they can't.
Your mum asked that.
But surely Cristiano...
Don't they know how to play football then?
Surely Cristiano... Surely like Cristiano and Bruno, they're all like, oh wait, Ollie hasn't told us what to do, therefore we can't beat Watford. Surely, like, you can. You still have a break. You can still kind of use it, but apparently not.
I mean, the best team, whether you'd been coached or not, should be able to beat the not so good team. I don't know. Obviously not. Right. Anyway, before we get on to the serious stuff of Wycombe Wanderers winning at home,
Thank goodness.
we'll get on with the European Cup 83-84, starting the next 5 questions. Okay, it's Kieran's quiz time. Sit still, so that bit goes in that. Who did Liverpool beat in the final? AC Milan, Juventus, or Roma?
Roma.
You're correct. Who scored Liverpool's goal in the 1-1 draw during normal time? Dalglish, Phil McNeil, Ian Rush.
McNeil.
That's correct. Who was the Liverpool goalkeeper in the final? Was it Bob Boulder, Ray Clements, Bruce Grobbelaar?
Grobbelaar?
You're right. He is fondly remembered during the shootout for wobbling his legs to distract the Italian striker, who promptly blazed the ball over the bar. You remember that, don't you?
I do know that. Yeah.
Well, don't remember it as such. But
I have heard.
yeah. Who scored the final winning penalty in the shootout? Phil Neal, Alan Kennedy, or Ian Rush?
Kennedy.
You're right. They won 4-2. Who was the captain who lifted the trophy? Hansen, Souness, or Thompson?
Souness.
You're correct.
Is that 5 out of 5 for
It's
a European?
5 out of 5. How about that?
83. Wow.
I mean, that's just
Aren't I talented? Yeah.
Yeah, sad is the word I would use, but talented can be another word we can use for that. Okay. Round 2 of the Kieran quiz time. Which player has scored the most own goals in the Premier League out of Michael Dewberry, Titus Bramble, and Frank Sinclair?
Sinclair.
You're right. 6 out of 6 so far. What a title to have.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
Which player assisted more goals in the Premier League out of Steven Gerrard, David Beckham, or Dennis Bergkamp?
Bergkamp.
You're right. 7 out of 7. Oh, we're bombing along today. It's because it's not later in the day, so the alcohol hasn't sort of, your breakfast alcohol hasn't quite sort of got in there yet, has it?
No.
Please name the goalkeeper. Please. What do you have please on the front of the question for? Please. Go on. Please name the goalkeeper that has kept the most... Don't believe... What? Sorry. Please name the goalkeeper that has kept the most clean... Who's been on the alcohol? That has kept the most clean sheets in the Premier League out of the following goalkeepers.
The communion this morning, mate.
We don't get wine at our church. It's just grape juice. There's no point going. Is it David Seaman, Edwin van der Sar, or Peter Schmeichel?
That's tough, isn't it? I'm going to say Seaman.
You're correct.
Oh,
this is not real, is it?
How incredible.
Not real. I shouldn't be shocked.
I better not bottle it now.
I would say which defender has made, but I'm going to say, please answer this question. Which defender has made the most appearances in the Premier League out of these defenders? Rio Ferdinand, Jamie Carragher, or Sol Campbell?
I think Campbell had quite a few injuries. Ferdinand was around for a long time, wasn't he? I think Carragher retired a little bit earlier. Then he played every time. I'm thinking about it because I don't want to get it wrong because I'm on 8 out of 8. Carragher.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on for a 10 out of 10 here.
This is where it's going to be a question just like, oh, who's the only Sri Lankan player to play in the Premier League or something? Something stupid. Go on.
Which Sri Lankan?
Yeah, nice.
Please. Which player has received the most red cards? Oh, this is great. Joey Barton, Roy Keane, and Nemanja Vidic. Is it Vidic? Vidic. I knew there was one of the letters didn't sound quite.
What group of players that is?
I know. Stick them in a.
Vidic got sent off against Liverpool so many times. Kane, he got sent off a lot. Barton, I feel like, didn't get sent off that much, but just had a lot of bad ones in which he just punched people in the face or something. Kane.
You're right. You're right.
Actually,
you've got 10 out of 10. You've got 10 out of 10. Oh, Kieran, we should finish the program there. We've done such a good program so far. That is you're my
you're
God.
A proud father.
Oh, I'm so proud. Oh, that's amazing. What can I say? What can I say? When do we move on to Solskjaer and Man United and Watford? Not yet. Let's have a look at Wycombe's match. Wycombe Wanderers. Oh, no, just a minute. Have I put any space in to say well done? I didn't. Sorry, we'll have to stop there. Quiz time. Okay. Now, Wycombe Wanderers. Interesting game, I have to say. A friend of mine bleeped me after about 30 minutes, said, I'm here today. And I almost replied, but it just took me too long. You know what I'm like on a phone, and I just gave up in the end. I was, and so I just gave up in the end. It's too dark, and I was going to put they're going to score in a minute, but they never got quite anywhere near. Bit of a strange game. It was really good. It was a good, exciting game. Did you watch the highlights?
I did see the highlights, yeah.
They didn't play our penalty taker. Did you see?
Yeah, they did. I saw the penalty.
Who did you think took it then?
Mehmeti.
Yeah. Well, they didn't play our friend. Was he? He's not injured. He was on the subs bench, wasn't he?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Our left back.
Can't remember. Yeah, I think he might have been. Yeah, Jacobson.
So he's not injured then?
No. I mean, he's played an awful lot of football and he's about 33, 34 years of age, isn't he? So can't really blame him too much, can you?
Right. Well, I thought it was going to be one of those games that was going to get out of hand. And I thought it's going to be one of those we're just not going to get there, you know. Whereas, in fact, sorry, I'm just finding the next thing. In fact, it wasn't that at all. But Wycombe fought, tried, got a penalty, missed another penalty. Was it a good penalty, a bad penalty? It was all right. It wasn't a great penalty. It wasn't as bad as last week's. Of course, it was saved again.
Yeah.
Why
did
he take it?
He must be decent in training. He's taken a few, hasn't he? He's actually missed a few as well.
Yeah, you'd think our friend up front would punt it in, don't you?
Yeah, if someone with a bit of experience like he does, you would have thought it'd be a pretty simple
Your
thing for
number
him to do.
9, what's his name? Remind me.
Vokes.
Vokes. You'd think he'd be a penalty taker, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Really, if you're a striker, I don't see why you shouldn't be.
You should be, shouldn't you? That's supposed to
Yeah.
be your skill, putting a ball in a net. Do you think? But in saying that, I mean, a lot of teams, fullbacks take free kicks, corners, but the corners are because you have the big
corners
guy
are crossing. Corners are crossing ability, though, isn't it? So
yeah. So I'm a bit surprised that he didn't take it. Maybe he should practice a bit more because he can hit them.
But then, I mean, you do have midfielders who are, extremely good at penalties, and we'll always say them, like Lampard, Gerrard, etc. So, but then Mehmeti's not that type of player whatsoever either, is he? So, I don't know. Evidently, it's a thing that the manager's decided beforehand who he thinks is the best penalty taker, and it just hasn't worked out. But I do think that Vokes should probably do some training with his penalties if he's that bad at it.
Do you know what they gave him on it? They gave Vokes an 8.5 star man of the match. And I don't think that was for his goal. I thought he was excellent yesterday. Unlucky not to score with his feet as much as his head. Wycombe were unlucky not to score. And you got this feeling that is never going in the net. Mehmeti was excellent. He was selfish, I have to be honest and say. A couple of times passes were there that he didn't take. But I thought we saw Mehmeti this week that we didn't see last week.
Yeah.
Was this the right team and last week's wasn't, or was it he just wasn't up to game scratch? Maybe it was that. But I thought we saw Mehmeti and the dangers he causes. They couldn't get near him in the end. It took 6 players to get to him. And I thought he was excellent. I thought it was interesting that subs weren't used until right at the end. Because as far as Ainsworth was concerned, I mean, when did he bring anybody on? 62 minutes. Yeah, so he made one substitution and brought on McCleary, obviously, to give him a 30-minute run.
Yeah, that's the thing. McCleary's back.
Yeah, he looked okay, not sharp, but he looked useful. But Sully Kakai yeah, inexperienced, and he looked it. I think it'd be the safe way of wording that.
A little bit of a headless chicken running around.
A little bit, yeah. It's certainly not a danger to anybody. I thought a bit tried, really did. He did try. I mean, as per normal, but that was the only sub he made, and that's because I think basically they were doing all right. We were doing all right. Just the ball just wouldn't. The goalkeeper wasn't making saves. It's just everybody was always blocking them, or it just wasn't quite happening. Another day, you could have won 3-0. They were okay. But I thought there were enough players on the front of their team that weren't good enough. They looked like they need a little bit, about another 3 players they need in their team to be anything. I thought they were lacking something. There was a guy whose surname is John, I think. I kept thinking, give him the ball, then we'll be all right, a bit like that. Baptiste was their best player. I thought he looked useful, but he's knocking on a bit, I believe, and we'll be coming to that subject. I don't know his age, but he did look like he's probably the oldest in the team, and they had to take him off and sub him. And I thought, that's good. They're going to have to sub him. He doesn't look like he's going to keep going the distance, and he looked their most dangerous player. We will come to age, of course. We're going to discuss that. I thought their goalkeeper looked a little bit risque, as with the goal. What a strange goal.
We score a few of those, don't we? Akinfenwa was typically scored quite a few of those loopy kind of headers.
Yeah, it wasn't strong, hard. He had to obviously lean back to get to it. It goes up in the air, and everybody's standing there watching it, including the goalkeeper, sort of like, and it just drops in behind him. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether the goalkeeper didn't think that was going near. I don't know. It was a very strange goal. It seemed to take forever. You're standing there on the terraces. You go out for a cup of coffee and come back waiting for it to drop in the net. Very strange goal. And I'm so pleased he scored. I thought he deserved it. I think he works his socks off. I obviously like the guy because I always sort of pat him on the back after a game, but I think he works his socks off, and I think he does the job. And this time, the complaint last time was him not having anybody that played off of him, and this time he did, with Mehmeti and Hanlon there, who are both really quick. Wherever he sort of nodded it, one of them was onto the ball. And so that worked.
It is so much better for a fan to watch when it is that thing where you lump the ball up to the striker and they're flicking it on. Decent flick-ons, but no one is there. It's so much nicer when there is actually people running off him.
Who can play football.
Who can play football. Yeah.
So it's not just belt it. It does mean belt it to him, and then you've got to play off of it and play football. And they did that, and we did that. I thought McCarthy was hard work. Again, I'm afraid.
He was captain, apparently.
Yeah, he was hard work, I thought. The funny thing is, when he's playing, I think, where's Grimmer? And when Grimmer's playing, I think, where's McCarthy? I think we could do with somebody to replace him. I think he's a weak link in the chain. That position is the weak link. I'm afraid.
I think Grimmer is in the Championship. I'm thinking, the season we went up, he was very, very good.
Yeah,
Grimmer. I don't know if that's just a dip in form now or anything else, but I think if we do somewhat go back up to the Championship again at some point, then yeah, probably is a position you need to look at. As with a lot of positions, in all fairness.
I think Wheeler was back, and I think he was good and useful. Didn't stand out as a superstar, but what you had in that midfield was somebody who could get to the ball, head in the middle. So you've got Tafazoli at the back in the middle. You've then got Wheeler in the middle, and you'd got Vokes in the middle, up front.
Yeah.
You'd got somebody in each of the areas to reach the ball in the air. You'd covered it, that, and then you used both sides with shifting the ball up and over or along, who run onto the ball. You've got your two runners on the outside, and you've got your three positions covering the pitch in the air. And that's how it worked. And I thought it worked. Another day, we could have won that 3-0. To start with, though, for the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I thought there was a gap between the midfield and the fullbacks. And I think they shut up that at half time, because I thought we did look a little bit risky in there in the first half. But I think they dealt with that half time.
Mm.
And I think that must definitely deserve to win 1-0. That's for sure. Definitely deserve to win. Rest of the league worked out pretty well for us as well, didn't it? Did you have a look?
No. Let me get it up quickly.
Got it. I mean, we've got to start with Charlton beating Plymouth. Oh, good. Charlton have won the last 4 games, you know. I mean, we played them just at the right moment. And managed, we got our win out of it, and now they keep winning.
They've climbed up the league pretty rapidly, haven't they?
They have. I mean, they were sat there down the bottom. Amazing what sacking a manager can do. But did they not only sack a manager, did they get in a decent help at the back to train them how to play football? Don't know. So that one is definitely worth a mention. And of course, we play Plymouth shortly on a Tuesday night, I believe. So it's good that they've lost. It kills their run, which is what you need. They now know they can lose, which is excellent. That's what we needed to kill that run, and they've done it for us. Thank you.
Despite their run, they're only 2 points in front of us still.
Exactly.
It does seem pretty ridiculous, but
we had our run. That's why, all the games at home. MK Dons bother me. They beat Burton 1-0. They keep winning. Don't want that. No. We need them to have a trip up. They're doing all right, actually, which is a bit of a pain in the neck. They beat Burton in the cup, they lost, but then they beat Cambridge. I think Cambridge might be an easy one. Saying that, that's nice, isn't it? They drew with Stevenage. They beat Crewe. They lost in the EFL, but so what? So really, the last game they lost was back in October 23rd. They lost to Rotherham. So I think we could do with them losing a game again.
I mean, they're only 1 win away from us, and they do have a game in hand.
Yeah.
So.
Portsmouth won. Who cares?
Don't worry, I heard too much about that in the town last night. So
oh yes, they were happy, were they?
They were very happy, yeah. And so there was one bloke who came up to me and was like, "Oh, where do you come from?" I was like, "Wycombe," and he was like, "Where? We beat you last week." I was just like, "Oh gosh," and there was all his mates just like, "Where?" Not the most fun experience, but
Rotherham beat Cambridge, but I don't think that's any big deal to beat Cambridge, to be honest. The other one worth mentioning, the Wigan-Oxford was called off due to COVID, but Sunderland beat Ipswich. But from what I can hear and what I look at on there, I think they got away with it. If you actually look at it, we know what ball possession means, but Ipswich normally have the ball a lot. And they had 61% Ipswich with the ball. They had more shots than Sunderland, same amount of chances, great passing, same amount of corners. And I know all that is, we discuss, how that doesn't really count. They had twice as many shots inside the box. But as far as I can work out from the programme that was on TV last night, etc., Sunderland got away with that one. And they scored quite late, 85 minutes into the game. And then they got another one in the 90th when Ipswich were going for it. don't know whether that's good or bad. Don't want Sunderland. I guess a draw would have been good for that one, but I'll take that actually because of the table. I think that's probably better for us. Sunderland won that one.
I think we do need to keep that 5-point cushion in between us and 7th. That would be quite nice to keep.
I mean, all in all, we said last week about, Division 1 top half. We do have a chance of the playoffs. I'd be shocked if we got the top 2. I think that would be out. I think that's out of our sort of grabbing. But then Plymouth would say the same, really. I mean, they come as a bit of a surprise this year. They got to be the biggest shock. And I think that won't last, you see. I think they will at some point drop off. It won't last. I think they're a West Ham in that they've got the 11 that work and you only need 1 or 2 injuries and it will disappear. I don't think they've got the depth. I think they've got the belief with the 11, not the belief with the 9.
I mean, I think in the lower divisions, all teams go for a pretty big blip. Like you can have your small little blips for your Cities or Liverpools, but in the lower leagues, every team has a big blip, and it depends how big that blip is and whether you are losing all those games or drawing some of them. So, I mean, if we've gone through our blip, then that'd be absolutely perfect. I'm not sure that is, our main blip, but Plymouth will go through one, and Plymouth will lose a lot of games, as will I think the rest of the teams. The problem is, I think Sunderland have been through theirs. They lost 3 on the bounce. I think they'll rise up and probably get top 2 now. I think anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Sunderland are going to be one of them. I hope like mad it's not Milton Keynes or Oxford.
If we're to make predictions, I reckon it'll be Wigan and Sunderland.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And I
don't want Milton Keynes would be rubbish to have in the Championship.
Yeah,
I don't want.
That's what I
them.
think. I think they'll get slaughtered. I mean, in the end, the teams that you want to go up are teams that you think can survive, and I don't think that any of those other teams would stand too much chance of surviving. It's all well and fine to play good football as Oxford and Milton Keynes, but I don't think they're good enough at playing good football that I think they'll just be taken apart.
Yeah.
You can't play that football without better skill than the team you're playing. And I just don't think they're quick enough. I think they get slaughtered. Okay. Age. Now, you might look at me and think, boy, is he young. But that's not entirely true. I am actually probably older than you think I am. But this is talking really about at what age do players peak? Now, there's loads of different ways that you can look at footballers and when do they reach their top skill level, their top peak fitness levels, etc. When are they the best? We talk about Harry Kane. He's 27. I mean, who's going to buy him because you're going to have him and he won't be worth anything when he gets to 30, etc., etc. So at what age does Harry Kane start going downhill? Yes, further. And but how do you work that out? Well, I've been reading a few pieces. I will advertise them because this is where I've nicked it from, is from a thing called The Athletic, which I read regularly. I'm that boring. I don't read the baseball. I read the football. And they did a sort of a way of doing it. I didn't have time. That's the truth. I'm doing too much cleaning the house and washing up and ironing.
Of course you are. Yeah.
But what they did was, instead of looking at, say, wingers and who can run faster, they took the Premier League for the past 10 years. Look at this. This is really, see, wrong side. Bit. It's really irritating me. They took the Premier League for the past 10 years, okay, and they looked at and they split it up into 18 to 38-year-olds and the minutes played by each
age
group.
Yeah.
And then split the team up into 7 positions. And so they made it goalkeeper, centre-back, full-back, central midfielder, wide attacker, central attacking midfielder, and striker. Now, don't get lost just yet, because I will put this up in just 1 second. I'm just going to explain what this graph does. And then what they did was, the dark red is where most minutes were played in the past 10 years by that age group. And then you have, as the red gets lighter, so it gets less and less players. So let's put that up now, and then you don't have to look at mine nor Kieran's face as we talk about this. I think this works. I'm not quite sure whether we've covered both faces. I've not done this before, but hey, do you know whether this is going to work?
I have not got a clue. I don't know what you were trying to do.
Okay, I'm going to try and put the graph that I showed you up on the screen.
Well, I'd imagine it should cover both our faces.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, there you go. There's the graph, I hope, everybody. Now, as you can see, if you look down the dark red lines, you will see goalkeepers. Most goalkeepers played for the minutes is 28. So there are more 28-year-old minutes played. Yeah. Age, year groups, 28. So you're basically saying that goalkeepers, they peak at the age of 28. Now, obviously, if you look also on the other side of 28 to 29, 30, 31, that's where it slowly lightens up, because they last longer and can be older. And then as you go down the graph, you'll see different positions have to be younger or older. So a striker, so the youngest actually nowadays is a fullback or central midfielder. Now you think, that wasn't what it was like when I was younger. And that's because, of course, today you have players such as Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's got to run and get to both ends of the pitch faster than any other player. So they are younger, fitter, and faster. So fullbacks today have to be younger. So when you go out buying players, at what age do you want to buy them? Well, a fullback you would want at the age of 21 to turn into a 22-year-old that will start playing the minutes, and then will be able to get better and better and peak at 25, and you would get rid of them by 28 and sell them off.
Well, I think that's why the most ideal situation is that you get them through the academy. I think you see more academy fullbacks more than ever, particularly in England. Like you've had Trent, Reece James, Max Aarons from Norwich, off the top of my head. There's a few others. I think that's the idea, is that you get them from your own academy, and then if you need to sell them on, you can. But I'm not sure Liverpool or Chelsea will with theirs, no matter what age they get to. But then that's why people have said that Trent could move to midfield. And I imagine Reece James could move to centre-back.
Well, if you look, centre-backs are, in fact, apart from a goalkeeper, are, in fact, the oldest. They compete at the age of 27. along with a striker, which I thought was rather odd because it used to be strikers would have to be really in there. Well, in fact, they can be quite old now. 27, quite old. I think it's quite funny. So, would you agree with that particular graph? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would have thought the goalkeeper might be even a little bit older because they tend to be. I mean, some have gone into like their 40s, but it does make sense roughly. Maybe the attacking midfielders are getting a little bit younger, thinking of Foden and Smith Rowe, but yeah, it's about right.
Right, so there's that graph. Now, I'm going to change the graph now, and we're going to have a look at now, which one did I put on there? Oh, yes. We're going to change the graph now and look at all the Premier League teams on where the majority of their players come in. So how far is each Premier League squad away from their peak? So the average distance in years from peak age for each squad in the Premier League. And this is 21-22. So this is up to date. So let me just put that up now. There we go. I think I've worked that out. And as you will see, now this is why we're going to discuss this in a minute. As you will see, Arsenal went out buying players. Now, Arsenal are just over a year and a half away from having the team at its peak on the whole. That means we are going to see next season and the season after Arsenal hitting the point. They are, if they can keep that team together, they will only get better over the next year and a half. If they don't make Europe this year, they should next. They will improve. Okay. And if you look at that, Aston Villa is worth discussing for Gerrard. Look at the team he has bought down there. He's got another year to get that Aston Villa team up and running, and then they'll be going. He keeps them in that Premier League this time. He could get them that top half, knocking on the door of Europe, I believe.
Mm.
The team he's playing with at the moment will only improve if the training is correct.
He's really not that far away from the top half at all.
Norwich went out spending a lot of money. New manager. Interesting. They can be the same. Brentford, if they can hang on in there this year, will get better for next year. But let's go to the top. Watford, West Ham and Burnley. Well, these teams, a bit like Wycombe, tend to buy older players. But Watford are way off the charts. They've got a really old team. And to be honest, if I mean, they're not going to last. What they've got this year is going to have to be sold and renewed. Okay, West Ham. This is why I think if West Ham don't make it into Europe this year, they're in trouble. If they get into Europe, they get the money and redo some of that team. But the problem is West Ham just that 11 and they're just having a good season and it's a one-off?
Is that what you think?
That's what I think.
I mean, they were decent last season.
But they would be, because if you look, it's on 1.9.
Yeah.
So last year, they would have been just over that bracket.
Mm.
So they would have been doing all right, actually. But now they're getting older. They're going to slow up. He can't keep that 11 together. He's going to have to start renewing those players.
Yeah. It'll get even older as well when Declan Rice inevitably leaves, which you'd imagine he would.
But can he renew that team and be? I mean, was it luck that he ended up with the 11 that work?
To an extent, I don't think he's particularly brought anyone in. But maybe Bowen, I think he's brought in. Apart from that, it's all pretty much the same team.
Well, and I thought that was quite interesting if you look where these teams are. But okay, so that was interesting, I thought. But here's the point. Why then, if you look along that chart, where is Manchester United? They're at their peak.
Yeah.
They are at their peak. They are the best they're ever going to be, that team. They're not going to improve. They've got some oldies and they've got some very young, but together they are at their peak. He's got the best team. I say he, who has got their best team, and they were playing an old team who have passed their peak.
Who are crap anyway, to be honest with you.
What was it? How did Man United lose? Well, we'll leave this sort of thing together while we discuss Manchester United, really. But this is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have been sacked, because he has a team at their best of players that are world class, and he got nothing out of them. I can tell you what I wrote down if you can find it, except I can't. Oh, here we go. I can make a couple of sentences, then I'll leave it to you for 2 minutes. You can talk about what happened yesterday and your thoughts on Ollie, etc., and I'll butt in to you. But here we go. The United defence on those games against City, Liverpool and Watford, etc., and all the others, this is their problem. They couldn't cope with pass backs of players getting to the line and passing the ball back. That's where tons of the goals against came from. They couldn't cope with the pass backs because there was nothing standing in front of the back four. So there were gaps in front of them. So players could run on. You get the pass back from the line back in front of goal, and it was a free hit because there was no defending. The fullbacks never pressed, and therefore, if they never got close enough, so passing it around in their half was easy, and any team could just get round them. There was no communication between Maguire and Shaw. That both went for the same ball for something like about 3 of the goals between those 3 games. 3 goals were down to Maguire and Shaw going for the same ball. 3 goals just for that. Or they left it to each other. So they never communicated. They didn't know what the other one was doing, which is what the goalkeeper suggested in his interview. And as for standing in the right place, well, that's ridiculous that they couldn't stand in the right place, even on a football pitch. I mean, for goodness sake. Now, poor old Lindelof, who gets all the blame, he actually was the one decent player on the football pitch. He was the one that was always where he was supposed to be. Do you know that? If you take,
I've always thought he's all right.
If you took all those Liverpool, City, and Watford goals apart, Lindelof was the one you couldn't blame. So no teamwork. Whose fault is it? Do you know there's only 2 other teams that are letting more goals than United, and that's Norwich and Newcastle.
It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
So tell me, Kieran, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm gutted he's gone.
Yeah, I get that.
Because
means they might win a game.
They might actually do something decent now. But I don't think they will until they go and buy a defensive midfielder. Because it's something that I know it's the most obvious thing to say because everyone's always talked about McTominay and Fred not being very good. And everyone's tried to find a solution within. And people have said Pogba, people have said Van der Beek. But at the end of the day, City have Rodri, Liverpool have Fabinho, and Chelsea have Kante and Jorginho. United have McTominay and Fred. Like, any manager who comes in will not win the league with United or win any competition with United because they don't have a CDM. And people haven't... You can win games without having a CDM, and you should obviously beat Watford without having a CDM. But the accumulation of games in which they've lost against decent teams like Liverpool and City, that comes from that, in my opinion, because the rest of the team should function pretty well. Obviously, Maguire and Shaw are just donkeys. Bruno's a bit of a twat.
Don't call him that.
No, exactly. Like, it's so good, isn't it, that he did that last week against Albania, and they got sent off against Watford for his own mistake. Like,
did you see what Solskjaer said before the game about him?
What?
It was a brilliant comment about it was. I mean, I can't sort of look it up right now because I'll never find it at the time I take. But he made some comment. And also, they would have taken it off of there by now. It was something like the criticism. Well, he'll show you how good he is today. It was something like that in the conversation, and I thought, yeah, well, that summed it up, didn't it?
Yeah, it's. Yeah.
80,
I do feel somewhat sorry for him in that Varane has been injured the whole time, and Varane has been one of the best centre backs in the last kind of 10 years. Like, he's won about 1 million Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. But in saying that, it's still the same team that came second last season. It's a far better team than the team that Mourinho had when he won the Europa League, the FA Cup, and came second. And actually, as much as he is a dick, it kind of proved Mourinho right in him saying that his greatest ever achievement was coming second with United.
Yeah. Now that, mate, yeah. I was good,
especially with the team that Mourinho had. He didn't have Bruno, didn't have Ronaldo, didn't have Sancho, didn't have Maguire, he didn't have Varane, he didn't have Wan-Bissaka, he didn't have a smattering of players. Who Mourinho had was basically Lukaku, who we don't think is very good. That's about it. And he had Lingard, and obviously they sent Lingard out on loan to West Ham. So
I bet Lingard's really pleased. Didn't ruin his career playing for United.
To be fair, in terms of Maguire, I'm sure Kane was sat at home because remember when Kane was accused of bullying Maguire, Kane's just sat there just like, well.
Yeah, I bet he had a smirk on his face.
Yeah. But now, who do they get in? Apparently their number one choice is Pochettino. If you're Pochettino,
he doesn't want to go, does he?
Why would you leave Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe to go to Ronaldo, but still it's an aging Ronaldo. Yeah. The problem is that United have spent an incredible amount of money and they still look a good 3 or 4 players off winning the league.
But it's not the players, is it? It's the pass backs, the full backs pressing. It's no communication between a centre back and a right back. It's going for the same ball. I mean, your mum says, well, surely they should, if they're that good, they should be able to play football. But they can't. Why can't they play football?
I don't know. It has to be somewhat a coaching thing, but then you do wonder how it can be. Especially the Shaw and Maguire stuff, that's just basic communication. And it's not even a language barrier. They're both English. They both played for England at the Euros. Like, how can you not just communicate with each other on that basic level? I don't know.
I think before Solskjaer got sacked, I think the coaches needed sacking, actually.
Well, to an extent, he is a coach, but yeah, I know what you mean. But all of them, but then
they need have you seen who they're going to give it to for now?
Carrick, isn't it?
Do you know, if you go up to the top of the table in United, if you go right to the top and you have a look at all the levels all the way down, all of them have had to learn their jobs while doing it. Yeah. They brought nobody in with any past talent, any past win, even from the guy at the top, the Snake, as he was known, who's leaving. I can't remember what his name is. The Snake.
Woodward.
Yeah, that's it. He was named the Snake, wasn't he? Even him. None of them, all the way down, none of them had ever done that job before. Until you get to Solskjaer, who had only not really done that sort of job before, had he? I mean, he was the most talented at his own job. Do you know that?
And he was barely any good at it, to be honest. I don't know where they go from here. This is the problem.
I think replacing one isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. Is my honest opinion. I think they can put who they like in that job. I don't think it'll make a blind bit of difference.
I wonder if Conte is kind of regretting going to Spurs now.
No, I wouldn't have.
You reckon?
I don't think.
I mean, I don't think either job is any good.
No. But I don't think he's. Yeah. I think at least he can improve Tottenham. I don't think he will improve United.
The only bit of hope I can take from it is that I don't think United will get any better with whoever they bring in. And the only point I will get somewhat worried is when they buy a CDM. Because that is the one vital thing they need. They also need a striker because Ronaldo's 36 and Cavani's 34. And in a season or two, they'll go and they won't have a striker.
No.
But
right. Well, there's always Akin Fenwa.
Yeah, he'll probably keep going. Might as well.
Okay. How long have we been going? Any idea?
An hour and a bit.
Okay. Shall we?
We can talk through a few Premier League games.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Blah, blah, blah. So we obviously had Gerrard's getting his first win for Villa.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to be difficult for him in the sense I think he's got a reasonable team to do something with. He's certainly enthusiastic. His feet, he jumped how far?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, about 2 foot?
I love his celebrations. Like, the passion you can see coming from it is just amazing.
But we've got... his coat was shocking. I'm sorry, but...
Was it that bad?
I mean, you've got Ainsworth, the rock star in his cowboy boots, leather jacket, and and then you've got him in a raincoat.
It might have been raining though.
I'm sorry, no class, no class.
Wow, I see how it is.
But he's going to be all right, isn't he?
I think he will be. And looking at it, I don't think it will be that difficult a job to get them into the top half. He's only 4 points off of United, who are seventh, bear in mind. And he's 3 points off of Spurs in 10th. I think he'll do very well.
Liverpool couldn't beat Brighton, could they?
No, they could not. At home as well. In saying that, though, Brighton had most of the ball and they were very good, apparently.
He does have one problem, and so do you. He's got Crystal Palace away, followed by Manchester City, followed by Leicester, followed by Liverpool, Norwich and Burnley. So out of them, which ones, that's up to Christmas. What do we give them? Do you think they can beat Crystal Palace? Palace at home?
Away. Palace at home. They're away. They can beat Palace.
They're
City,
doing well.
They are doing well, actually.
Yeah.
That's a 50-50.
Yeah, Wally up front scored.
Yeah, of course he did. He scored 2, didn't he?
Benteke, unbelievable. Yeah.
City, you'd have to say it's unlikely. Leicester are poor this season. Against Chelsea yesterday, they were just
good,
boring and dull, and look like they lacked the motivation.
Liverpool's going to be a fun one.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that.
I don't want to watch it. Do you reckon Stephen will celebrate when Liverpool score?
I don't know what he's going to do. He'll be cheered onto the pitch, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, the reception we'll get will be amazing.
Norwich.
Then his run over Christmas is pretty kind, isn't he? He's got Norwich in there, Burnley, does have Chelsea and Leeds.
And Leeds, yeah. Brentford, United, another easy game. Everton, Leeds again. Yeah, Leeds again. Yeah. So he's going to do all right in a lot of them, isn't he?
Mm.
You know, he's going to do all right, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how he gets on. Liverpool, Arsenal were decent first half, weren't they? They did keep Liverpool at bay, and were somewhat of a threat.
The reason why it was like it was simply because Arsenal were going for it, Liverpool were going for it. It's their style. One of those teams was going to beat the other by ages, you know, and it was as simple as that. Because if Arsenal had gone in front, Liverpool's back would have opened up for Arsenal, instead of which it was the other way round. And I think it was that simple. And Liverpool had the advantage of being at home. And I thought that was a game they could have lost, depending on the first goal mattered. That's my opinion.
So although Trent does have 9 assists in his last 6 games now.
Does he? But he's not good enough for England, is he?
He's not good enough for England.
No.
No, it was a good win. It was a must win. I still think Chelsea are certainly the ones to catch. They're ridiculous. And they've conceded 4 goals in 12 games. Like, you just don't see where they're going to drop points. And the only teams they have done against are City, Burnley, and Liverpool.
Burnley, yeah.
For some reason.
Come on, Norwich.
Yeah, something like that. Speaking of which, Burnley scored 3 yesterday.
I know.
3-3 against
Burnley, Crystal Palace. That was an entertaining one. And the other one, because look how many goals were knocking around yesterday. I mean, normally it's sort of 0-0 match of the day job, but not yesterday. Was it 30 goals? I'm not going to add them up now, but something like that. It was
30, yeah.
Was it? Right, Newcastle, Brentford, 3-3. Well, that was always going to be an entertaining. And I'm glad to see Tony score and save them by kicking it off the line. Oh, he was good, wasn't he?
Yeah. Some of the Brentford goals, though, were poor from a goalkeeper's perspective, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, they need a goalkeeper, don't they?
Yeah. Same Maximan saving Newcastle as always, though.
Yeah, the norm. Yeah, well, that certainly livened up Newcastle fans. They had a
I mean,
joyful
even
day.
if not necessarily, is it that you have to win your first game, but they didn't lose at home, and it was entertaining, which I'm sure is kind of what they want to an extent.
Yeah, that would do them, wouldn't it? That's a good start.
Yeah.
Norwich beating Southampton. I feel sorry for Southampton. There's a young girl that comes to my youth club who's a Southampton fan and goes to all the home games, and she's very moody at the moment. And I do feel sorry for her. She's 12 or something. She goes to all the games. She loves football, and she's not in a good place. Norwich and losing to Norwich. Oh dear! They've brought in Cantwell. Sorry,
Cantwell.
Yeah, he's brought him back, which he should have done. I mean, why they weren't playing him? He had an argument with him, Farker, and he's got that other guy playing as well that should have been on the pitch beforehand for the other one. He could never find a place for him, and I'm just going to look up his name.
Gilmore.
That's right, Gilmore.
Yeah,
brilliant. What an entertaining player. He's going to make a difference, one feels. I mean, he should have found a place for him. He's like Mehmeti.
Gilmore's just a centre mid as well.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be too hard to...
He reminds me of Mehmeti in that sort of, the youth running, doesn't believe he can possibly lose the ball because he's brilliant. And he knows it.
Yeah.
And but he knows it in a youthful sort of, it doesn't trouble him being with everybody else. He knows what he's doing. I thought he was good. West Ham losing. We'll finish on this one, I think. West Ham losing. Is it over?
Thank goodness.
Is it over?
I don't think it's over, but thank goodness they lost. They needed to lose at some point, didn't they? And I mean, Wolves away, a lot of people would say can be a banana skin for people. Hasn't been recently because they've been quite poor, Wolves. Although Wolves are sixth somehow. The table is very weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because you think, that's a bit close to the bottom three.
We've been saying how,
and then you think, actually, that's not far off the top either.
No,
I mean, you look at that from Arsenal 20th down to 14th, 5th to 13th. It's 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know it's near the start of the season, but it does seem awfully close between a few teams, especially, United, Arsenal, Spurs. They really want to be getting away from a few of these teams, building a bit of a gap. Otherwise, they could experience a bit of an embarrassment if Brighton finish above them.
Yeah. I mean, you got Chelsea 29, Liverpool 25 only.
They've opened a bit of a gap, Chelsea. City
24. 24, is that right? Or is that 23, 24 at the moment because it's 0-0, but they haven't kicked off yet. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Arsenal 20, because you see Arsenal 9 points behind Chelsea in 5th.
Yeah, but they started
at the bottom,
9 points behind Chelsea after 3 games. So they're in the same kind of form as Chelsea, Arsenal, supposedly.
So really, it's Chelsea. People have got to start it in Chelsea.
They really do. I don't know. Are teams scared of playing Chelsea? I don't know. It seems that way because...
Well, as far as I've worked out so far, every time Chelsea have been playing, it's got nothing to do with Chelsea. It's the other team was shocking.
Yeah, that is quite common thing,
isn't it? True? I mean, surely that can't be every game.
No, because otherwise they wouldn't have only conceded 4. You wouldn't have thought. But like it was near enough Leicester's first team, and Chelsea's was all right. But they
Conceded
only,
4. Only
but they
4.
they had Hudson-Odoi, Mount, and Havertz their front 3. Like they're still missing Werner, Lukaku. So you're just kind of wondering what a team's doing against Chelsea.
Well, they need to foul a few players, don't they? Put them out for the season.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Get rid of Kante and Reece James and Chilwell, and then we'll be all right.
Yeah, only those ones. Yeah.
No, not too many. Can't be selfish.
No. Okay, we'll give that a going over, and I'll have to put these things up on air and stick the music in, etc., etc. But everybody, please don't forget Alice Hubble. Worth a listen to. Look that up on Spotify and Bandcamp. Have a look at Bandcamp, the website. That's worth a look and join to have a listen to things. And with that, Kieran, keep the alcohol down.
Will do, mate.
Yeah. And we'll go off and have our Sunday roast. In fact, it isn't. It's an Indian. Not an Indian roast.
Why?
Well, it's because I only eat half my takeaways and I have the rest on the Sunday. So with that, we'll say goodbye. Kieran, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I'll say goodbye, and we'll get ready to discuss City's complete 5-0 loss next week. Okay,
Fantastic.
right. Bye.